Hey, my name is Jamie Arndt, and in today's lesson, I'm going to explain to you what an altered chord is and show you how to play some cool altered chord voicings on the guitar. So what is an altered chord? An altered chord is a dominant seventh chord that contains any one or more of these four altered tones: the flat 5, the sharp 5, the flat 9, and the sharp 9. So when would we use this? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at one of the most common chord progressions in jazz and a lot of other styles of music as well, the 2-5-1. In the key of C, a 2-5-1 would have a D minor 7 as the 2 chord, a G7 as the 5 chord, and a C major 7 as our 1 chord. In a 2-5-1 progression, the 2 chord introduces the progression. The 5 chord is our point of tension or dissonance, and our 1 chord is our landing, our point of resolution, back home. So that G7 in the 2-5-1 in the key of C is really our point of tension. But in order to make this chord sound a little more dissonant, we can take a look at 4 notes that are outside of this key, the key of C, and add them to the G7 chord to bring about a little bit of extra tension, so when we land back on the 1 chord, it really feels a lot more final. So let's take a look at a few examples, a few chord voicings. So if we start with this G7 voicing, the flat 7, F, the 3rd, B, the 5th, D, and the root, G, we could lower that 5th, that D, to a D flat, and that gives us this voicing, G7 flat 5. We could also raise that 5th to a D sharp, and that gives us this voicing, G7 sharp 5. What about the 9? Well, if we want to add the 9, we can just think from G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A would be our 9, so A flat would be the flat 9. Here's G7 flat 9. And you may think, well, yeah, this looks like a diminished shape. Well, G7 flat 9 is related to a diminished chord. With that G in the bass, it's a G7 flat 9. The flat 7, the 3rd, the 5th, and the flat 9. So if A flat is the flat 9, A is the natural 9, A sharp is going to be our sharp 9. So here's G7 sharp 9. Or any combination, like how about G7 sharp 5 sharp 9. Sounds really nice, resolving back down to C or up to this C major 7 voicing. We can also do G7 with a flat 5 and a flat 9. You can hear the root in there. G7 sharp 5 flat 9. So in all these instances, we're just adding some outside notes from the key to bring a little extra tension to our G7 chord, to our 5 chord. So if we move up the neck, let's take a look at another place we could play some of these voicings. We could play G7 sharp 9. You might know that one, the Hendrix chord, or G7 flat 9. Once again, resolving nicely to C major 7. We could do G7 with a sharp 9 and a sharp 5. Or a flat 9 and a flat 5. Or how about a flat 9 and a sharp 5? So you can mix up these combinations, but if you add them to a dominant 7th chord, it'll really sound idiomatically correct when playing jazz and give your 5 chords a little bit more tension, so when you resolve, it really feels final. So if we're improvising and we're playing single note lines over a 2-5-1 progression, what scale would we use over the 5 chord, over the altered dominant 7th chord? Well, over our 2 chord, D minor, we'll probably use some sort of D Dorian, little D minor idea. And then over the 5 chord, we're going to use the altered scale. The altered scale is the 7th mode of melodic minor, meaning we can play an A flat melodic minor, but if we start it on the 7th degree, start it on a G, we get the G altered scale. So a trick to finding your altered scale is just play the melodic minor scale that lives a half step up from the root of your altered chord. So if we're playing a G altered chord, play A flat melodic minor, but start it on the G. So why does this A flat melodic minor mode work over a G altered chord? Well, G is our root, A flat is the flat 9, B flat is the sharp 9, B is the third, D flat is the flat 5, D sharp, there's our sharp 5, F is the flat 7, and we're back to G, our root. So this scale gives us the root, the third, and the flat 7 of the chord, in addition to all 4 of those altered tones. So if you play this scale over a G7 chord, you'll imply that altered sound. The flat 5, the sharp 5, the flat 9, the sharp 9. And then it resolves nicely back to the 1 chord. And usually those chord tones from the 1 chord from C major are just a half step away. So here's a great example of a 2-5-1 line using the altered scale. So we're starting out with a D minor 7 phrase, and then we're going to play over the G altered chord, the sharp 5, the flat 7, the root, back to the flat 7, back to the sharp 5, the third of G7, B, here's that sharp 9, A sharp, same thing as B flat. There's our flat 9, and that takes us right into the 5th of C major 7, a G. Thank you for watching this lesson. I hope it was helpful. Go ahead and try these chord shapes all over the neck. Try them in different keys. It'll really enhance your chord vocabulary and make your 5 chords sound a little more dissonant, so the resolution of the 1 chord really sounds strong. And that altered scale will really make your lines reflect the sound of the changes underneath. Once again, my name is Jamie Arndt. Thank you for watching.